بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم الحمد لله. I want to give you and all of us some sincere advice that I gathered yesterday and this morning. Sometimes things happen and they make you have reflection. And so I want to share something with you. We talked about and this is hard because we have to practice what we learn, right? When we talked about the obligations of the heart, on page number 91, right? Point number 13, right? Page number 91, point number 13. Could you read that? Inshallah, could you read that? Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, Number 13. Thinking the best about Allah Ta'ala's creation. It is by not assuming evil of them without a legally sufficient corroboration.
This is called husnul dhan, having a good opinion, right? So, wa husnul dhan bi khalqillah, or wa husnul dhan bi ibadillah, having a good opinion of the creation of Allah and the servants of Allah, wa husnul dhan bil muslimin, and having a good opinion of Muslims, right? We all of us, when we learn these things, we need to be careful, especially on social media, about this issue. One of the pitfalls of online, social media, Facebook, all of these things, is you don't know real people. It's all virtual, right? Sometimes people are not even who they say they are. That's the nature of social media, Facebook, and these types of things. You don't know who's on the other side of that computer, right? And sometimes, especially on Facebook, you see posts and you read into the posts, and oftentimes you may not realize it that you're wrong. What you're reading and what you think is being said is not being said. It happens. Sometimes you may be right, but if you reflect and you ponder, oftentimes it is not as you think. So this point here is something that we need to highlight, especially when we're engaging in social media, right? Because if we're having the opposite, which is su'ul dhan, which is having a bad opinion, we're going to fall into a lot of sins of the heart, right? And we're going to talk about these things, sins of the heart, now, right? But one of these things is the opposite of husnul dhan. And sometimes it can come from you, and sometimes you can be the victim of it. Meaning from you, you read something and you say, I know he's talking about me or she's talking about me. And that person who put that may not have had you in mind at all, right? So sometimes you may be right and sometimes you may be wrong. And what is always better for you as a Muslim is to accuse yourself. Make that a rule. Accuse yourself. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what is being said here, right? So just keep that as a rule. Maybe what you're reading is not as you see it, right? And even if it is, if you learn to overlook and pardon, you get a reward for that. So even if it is as you see, it's on Facebook, it can't harm you, right? Overlook, pardon. But be careful of letting Facebook posts reach your heart and allow virtues that should be in your heart to be removed and replaced with blameworthy things. So what is supposed to be in your heart? Husnul dhan bi khalqillah, bi ibadillah, bil muslimin. A good opinion. In other words, you interpret all of their things in a positive way. Unless there is an obvious religious reason why you have to interpret it in the bad way. So just be careful, right? Because we cannot forget that Shaitan is busy. And Shaitan will use your bad opinion of others, your bad thoughts, to lead you to sin. And people fall into it. So you read a post, you get angry or you get disappointed, you start talking about that individual in a bad way. It happens. Or you start accusing that person of something that they may be free of. Or you respond and you start doing the same thing with the bad intention from your heart. Watch our hearts all the time, right? Because at the end of the day, when Facebook fades away, when all this stuff fades away, we're going to be standing before our Lord, subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And we're going to be judged for what we did, not what others did, right? We're going to be judged for what we did, not what others did. How we responded to what others did. So just watch ourselves, right? And highlight this issue, point number 13. And whenever we go on Facebook, go on Facebook reminding yourself of this obligation of the heart. Husnul dhan bi khalqillah. Right? If I don't have a good religious reason why I'm thinking bad about a person, or just overlook, pardon, and keep going. Someone, I forget, I don't know, it was Rumi or somebody, I forget the thing. They said, how do you say it? I forget the wording. The meaning of is Subhanallah. Tahira, inshallah, we'll address that later. That's funny. Maybe people don't know you're married. Even though you put it, maybe they think it's something else. That's your screen. I don't know. Allahu Alam. Maybe they don't want to do haram. They think you're single, and it's an old thing that you never updated your profile. Allahu Alam. Think good of them. Just tell them I'm married when they tell you, or delete the men so they don't send you inboxes. Inshallah. Tell you. So just when you go on Facebook, go in with this thought. Husnul dhan. Have good opinion of people. And find excuses for them. That's something we need for our own hearts. Forget everyone else. Forget how everyone else thinks, how they feel, whatever they wa alayhi salam. However, never, Sheikh Samir says this all the time, never mind the others. Take care of yourself. Don't worry about the others. Don't worry about them. Take care of yourself. So from that side, right? Take care of yourself. Have a good opinion of others. Right? Your good opinion of them will not be overwhelmed by their bad opinion of you. You follow? Your good opinion of the others will not be overwhelmed by their bad opinion of you. So don't worry about their bad opinion. Make sure you have a good one. Right? Make sure you have a good one. Tayyib, I just wanted that point to be shared. And stop reading into things, because that's a trick of the ego as well. We read into things like we important. What makes you think you're so important that somebody got to talk about you? Right? Man anta, who are you? And you should answer that, lestu bi shay. I am nothing. So why is someone wasting their time talking about me? I'm nobody anyway. I'm not even significant. Right? Inshallah. Let us begin with Al-Fatiha. We reached up to page number 97. Let us begin with Al-Fatiha to the soul of our Habib Abdullah bin Hussein bin Tahir. Al-Fatiha. Naam. Go ahead.
Chapter 8. Disobedience in detail. The heart. The sins of the heart include: number 1, showing off in pious acts. It is acting for the sake of obtaining a position and reverence from people. It frustrates rewards when it is concurrent with acts, just like conceit for an act of obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Most High, mentioned in the following point.
So here, a riyaa in righteous deeds. Right? What is a riyaa? Ostentation, showing off. And this is something that's in the heart. It's a matter of the heart. So no one knows that except the person and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So for all of us to stop the possibility of a riyaa, we got to always check our intentions. Because showing off is something that happens in a way that is not detectable sometimes. Sometimes a person would have riyaa and not even realize they have it. right? Because it's something that's very hidden. It's deep in the heart, right? So the way to combat it is what? Constantly renew your intentions throughout the deed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And do not do anything before forming a pious or righteous intention. Even if it is only, I'm saying this or I'm doing this, lillahi ta'ala, for the sake of Allah. And then do it. And then throughout the deed, complete it. Where is it? I'm looking for something. There is a poem. I love this book. It's called Sifatu Zubad. It's a poem in Aqidah, in Fiqh, in Tasawwuf, right? It was written by Ibn Rislan. He lived in the 9th century. But he has a line in here that I always keep in mind, right? He said that all of the deeds, I'll translate it, all of the deeds, they will not be sincere and they will not be giving you a source of rescue except by the intentions, right? Where they are sincere, the intention. Then he says, so correct your intention before the deed and have that intention, bring it at the beginning of the deed. If it can last, you make it last throughout the deed, you will get the complete reward for that deed right in the hereafter. So steps. Number one, realize your deeds are not going to be accepted unless you have sincerity, right? That's one. So in order to get sincerity, what do you need to do? What do you need to do? Correct your intention before you do the deed. Why am I here? Right? Why am I doing this? Why am I teaching this lesson? Why are you intending this lesson? You should ask yourself and ensure that it's for the sake of Allah. I want to earn the reward from Allah. I want to draw closer to Allah. I want to, in status, I want to receive the acceptance of Allah, right? That's where you should be all the time. I want to be accepted by Allah. That's why I'm doing it, right? That's my intention. And whenever you find that your intention is not meeting that, fix it, correct it, change it. You may start off with a bad intention, but correct it, fix it, right? It's never too late, correct it. And then when you start that deed, make sure that tension is present, right? So throughout the deed, we're sitting here, we're here for 1 hour, right? And sometimes more because I don't know how to be quiet, right? But for whatever time we're here, throughout the time, right? Correct your intention, right? Throughout the class, throughout the lesson, correct your intention. Because maybe during the class, during the time period, shaitan comes, your nafs speaks to you and diverts your intention from what you originally intended. Correct it, fix it, renew it over and over again, right? So that your deed would be accepted. And look what he said. If you can make this intention last throughout the deed, so from the time you start and the whole time, the whole 2 hours, the whole 2 hours, right? But if you can have a good intention for those 2 hours, what? you'll get the complete reward for that deed in the hereafter. So don't forget the end result. So even if it's long, then I keep correcting my intention. If I have that intention throughout the deed, I'm going to get the complete reward for that deed in the akhirah, in the hereafter. And that's all that matters, really, right? I want the complete reward in the hereafter. So, and there may be, and when you find yourself doing something, start to think about why you're doing it, if it's for other than Allah, and then address that. Because sometimes you may not be able to overcome it. I'll give you an example. So he explains a riyaa. He said, a riyaa bi a'mal al-bir, right? So you have showing off for doing acts of goodness, right? And then he said that is to do that, right? For what purpose? To acquire manzila, status, wa ta'zeem, veneration in the nas. Wa huwa al-amalu li ajli nail al-manzilati wa ta'zeemi in the nas, right? So you're doing that. You're doing deeds for what? For to achieve some status, some rank, for people to look highly at you, right? And let's examine that. That's not a good thing to strive for. No matter how much status people give you, right? I want to show you how valuable people's status is. They elevate you. You are, mashallah, doing so good. You're a pious person. Boom, 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 whatever, 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 right? Do one thing wrong, one thing. Watch how fast you come crashing down in their estimation. Think about it. You could do 20 years of good because of the nature of shaitan and the nufus of people. Do one thing, and boom, you're going to come crashing down in their estimation. That status you had, to the bottom. Overnight. So really, is it that valuable? Something that you could do 20 years, 30 years, weeks, months of benefiting and benefiting. Do one thing wrong and watch they scandalize you. One thing. Think about that. So really, is the value and estimation and status that they gave you really of any value? Think about it. No. So don't seek that, right? And that's why the pious, the awliya, they said that they didn't care if someone saw none of their good deeds and all of their bad deeds, so long as their heart is pure for Allah. Subhanallah. That's a manzila. That's a status, right? That's a status. They said they don't care if the people see all of their bad deeds and none of their good deeds, but long as their heart is pure for Allah. That's right. That's a state there. And think about it. I give you one of the great scholars in this, and it was related to the correct belief, right? Remember I told y'all about Fakhrud Razi? Do you remember who Fakhrud Razi was? And when did he die? To make sure we're still together. Who is Al-Imam Fakhrud Razi, and when did he die? That's the question. I have questions. Hmm? Hmm? Let me see if I can find this. Oops. While you tell me who Fakhruddin al-Razi, I want to look for something. Who's Fakhruddin al-Razi? SubhanAllah. Allah. I got so much reading I want to do with y'all. We don't have enough time. SubhanAllah. But there is a lot. I can't find it. I'm not even beginning. I don't know 15th century. I don't know American time. So by Hijra, Farouk. I was trying to find something to share with you, but I'm not successful. Hold on 1 second. Maybe I'll share it with you tomorrow. I was searching for something for you. I'm sorry. No, where's no Fakhruddin Razi? Did y'all hear me? No one heard me? From the philosophers. Really? Islamic philosophers? Say Mutakallimun, Shakil. Don't call him a philosopher. He wouldn't accept that. Mutakallim, right? A scholar of al-kalam. He has his famous. Okay, Farouk, any excuse will do. No problem. Sufyan after that, Fakhruddin al-Razi. Fakhruddin al-Razi was after 544. Let's see if we have. Allah. He was a Shafi'i scholar. Good. Is my audio is bad? Can you hear me? 606, right, Sufyan? Is my audio clear? Because I see people saying audio problems. Can you hear me? Okay, good. So Fakhruddin al-Razi, he died in the year 606, so he was like 100 years after Imam al-Ghazali, right? He was one of the great foremost scholars of the Ash'aris in explaining the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, right? Fakhruddin al-Razi, Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi. And he died 606 AH, right? I want to share something with you quickly while I'm mentioning him. because I had one intention when I started, but it seems that I wasn't able to fulfill my intention. So maybe some will like that. I wanted to do more than I'm doing, but yeah. I guess you realize I don't rehearse this stuff, right? I'm not. I don't prepare. I go by my heart. I would like to prepare more and be more structured and organized, but I move by how I feel. That's just me as a person. So be patient. Sometimes you'll notice I'll be talking about something, then I'll go way over there. That's just me. So please overlook my, what do you call that? There's a word for that. Let me see your good opinion. What's the word for that? Let me see your good opinion. Yeah, scattered thoughts, but no, there is a word for a person who's like that. You don't know where they're going to be today or tomorrow. They're spontaneous. Is that it? Yeah. Free-spirited. Yeah. Julie, I don't know what you're talking about. Propensities. What does that mean? Astroplane. I'm not sporadic. Right? Stop. Oh, I love y'all. Oh, wow. Pancake thinking. That's cruel, Farouk. You better watch yourself. Pancake thinking. Alhamdulillah, whatever. All of those, y'all get my point. So be patient with me. You'll learn forbearance and patience if you stick with me. But you'll benefit, inshallah. It's just me. That's the way I am. Learn to pronounce noun and inclination. Propensity. Propensity. Okay. Okay. All right. MashaAllah. Barakallahu fiki. May Allah reward you. Yeah, so I had an intention to do a lot more than I'm doing today, but this would let you. Let's go back to Fakhrud Razi. So you got to follow me. Because I do that, you got to, when I stop, you got to like put a pin in it, especially when we're talking about a text. Stop. This is where he's at. And just follow me. And then know I'm going to come back to that. Tayyib, right? So Fakhruddin Razi, we're going back to riyaa, and I'm mentioning Fakhruddin Razi for a point. Fakhruddin Razi was known for refuting the people of misguidance who contradicted the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, meaning the belief of the Asha'ira, right? And Maturidiyya. So he was known, his books is full of refutations of those who contradicted the beliefs of Islam and the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. He was known for that, Fakhruddin Razi. And maybe one day we'll read some things of his books, even in his tafsir, Tafsir al-Kabir by Fakhruddin Razi. Even when he's talking about certain ayat of the Quran, you can see his inclination to explain the creed of Ahl Sunnah. And people hated him for that, especially those who were lukewarm in the issue of Aqidah and beliefs, or held beliefs that were of a tashbih or tajsim, because Sheikh Fakhruddin Razi was like a sword on their heads, right? So I told you about the old lady, the belief of the old lady, right? Y'all remember that story? The faith of the old lady in relation to Fakhrud Razi. Do y'all remember that story? Let me see if you were paying attention when I talked about it. This is the only thing I don't like about online. If we were in together, we could be really like back and forth. It's nice. I like engaging, right? That's the way I know you're learning and you're acquiring. I can look at the faces, right? So, but we missed that. Maybe one day they'll get a form that we can control and everybody could be live and we could talk and that would be nice. Zoom do it, but Zoom get bombed and I don't trust Zoom that well. Yeah, I don't trust Zoom because of that. The bombing and people, maybe there's something maybe to look in. I don't know. Allahu Alam. Yeah, the old lady. So one time, some of the mushabbiha, mujassima, those who liken Allah in His creation, liken Allah to His creation, they posted all over the place, even on the minbar where He used to go give the speech. They were talking about His wife, making bad statements about His wife, like she commits zina or things like that, right? So they posted it all over the place, these bad things about His wife. And Imam Fakhrud Razi, he took that. He said, they wrote on these papers about my wife that she did such and such. He said, but notice, none of them said that I liken Allah to His creation. He said, they say all this about my wife, but none of them said that I liken Allah to His creation. And that was his way of saying that's gaslighting, right? They're talking about my wife. I'm not even going to defend the fact that that's not true about my wife, because that's gaslighting. They don't want to talk about the real issue, that they're likening Allah to His creation. So they can say whatever they want about my wife, but they won't say that I liken Allah to His creation. Which the issue is. That was his sincerity, Imam Fakhrud Razi, right? It wasn't a show off. He's like, no matter what, that doesn't matter. The issue is what matters, out of his sincerity, right? So sometimes you get these accusations of riyaa. Don't pay attention to that. Make sure you're sincere for the sake of Allah. But the one who does have showing off and doing things for other than the sake of Allah, then this person will lose their rewards. All of the rewards for the deeds will be wiped out. So be careful of this. So that's why you should constantly correct your intention, right? Constantly correct your intention. And the knowers of Allah, al-arifuna billah, they mention that doing deeds for other than Allah is shirk, is worshiping in a way others than Allah. And leaving deeds for the sake of others is showing off, is riyaa, right? Al-amalu li-ajli al-nas shirk, wa tarku al-amal li-ajli al-nas riyaa, right? You're doing the deed for the sake of others. This is associating partners with Allah. You should do your deed only for Allah. But also to leave off the deed for the sake of others is also, that is the essence of showing off. So where should you be? You should be worrying about the gaze of Allah, not the gaze of creation. In performing or in leaving off or abstaining. In al-fi'l or at-tark, you don't concern yourself with people at all. You follow? So don't do something for the sake of Allah, for other than Allah, and don't leave off something for the sake of other than Allah. Both. Because sometimes you're going to be accused of showing off. And that is the way to get you to stop. Oh, they just showing off. And the hopes beyond that is to get you to stop. So if you stop, then you were really showing off. Right? Keep going. Correct your intention. Correct your intention. But never ever perform a deed for other than Allah for the sake of people, and never leave a deed for the sake of people. Neither one. In other words, treat the creation as if they are dead in terms of your acts. And no one does anything for the sake of dead people. Yes, Sufyan. Y'all follow this lesson? Inshallah. With that, I think that's a mouthful. We can stop there. And I would have successfully not accomplished what I intended in the beginning. But maybe I accomplished something else. Right? You know, I wanted to read the rest of the book today. But that was Fantasy Island from the beginning. But alhamdulillah. You know, we get what we get. What Allah will for us, we will get. And if we get one thing and we practice it well, we're good. Right? So I'll leave it for the questions, inshallah, so we can get out of here early, because Muti made me feel bad and I can't go 2 hours. So now I'm not even going 1 hour. How about that, Muti? And now everyone blame Muti because I'm stopping. No, I'm just having fun. MashaAllah. All right, we had questions or no? Related to me, don't ask me a bunch. I'm not a mufti, so don't ask me a bunch of questions. I probably don't have the answer for most of the stuff you ask. About what I'm talking about, I pretty much can respond, but my name is not Mufti Amin. So don't expect much. I give you what I have. I'm not afraid to say I don't know, because I don't know. Someone had a question. That was Free Slave. Free Slave, where your question go? I saw it. I didn't answer, but I saw it. Your question got missed. It was something about waswas, wasn't it? I missed it. I mean, you can wear good clothes. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure it doesn't make you egotistical and amazed with yourself, right? Allah loves to see his favors on his servants. So if Allah gave you wealth and you can dress nice, nothing wrong with it. It's not haram. Just don't use it with the intention of impressing others. And don't let it make you arrogant and think you're better than others. So feel the same state if you didn't have those clothes or if you had those clothes. That's the way you measure. If I had these good clothes, these nice clothing on, or I didn't, it would not make a difference, right? And for me, I'll tell you what I do to help me with that. I wear basically the same clothes every day. I do. I don't like I have nice stuff. I don't care about that stuff, right? But if you see me on a regular basis, I usually have the same stuff on every day or similar, right? You're right. But I do sometimes I dress up and look nice and mashallah. But dunya, right? Long as you are presentable, alhamdulillah, right? Here, because when you're doing acts of worship, why shouldn't we stop and act if people are watching in fear that you'd be acting for them? Because you shouldn't be acting for them in the first place. So there should never be the fear of doing something for them and you shouldn't do for them. So you should correct your intention and there is no need to stop the act, right? You follow the point? So if you're stopping the act because you fear that you'd be acting for them, that is insincerity in your intention. Fix that insincerity and do the act, right? Correct it. That's why I gave you that. Correct your intention before the deed. Have it at the beginning of the deed. Make it last throughout the deed. If you can do that, you'll get the complete reward for that deed in the hereafter, right? That line, right? So do it like that. So if you see some, you feel your heart inclining to doing a deed for others, correct the intention. Still do the deed, correct the intention, and leave that that thought of doing the deed for others. But don't stop. It is a way, shaitan, to trick you to not do good deeds because you can do that all day. How does one know when it's just waswas and when one actually fell into riyaa? Examine the state of your heart. Waswas is a passing thought that goes away, right? So involuntary thought. It comes to your mind and then goes away, right? And if you keep battling with it, right, then you just seek refuge in Allah and you keep going. When you know that's the state, because you know your own heart, right? It's something that's persistent, right? It's not a passing thought. It's something that's in there, persistent. And you know yourself, right? You know when you're showing off, when you know you're showing off. And you know the difference from a state that hit you and passed by without you being aware. You know the difference. It's not that hard, right? Now, if you question yourself, am I sincere? That's waswas. Make a good intention and keep moving. But you know when you're doing something for others. The state of your heart will tell you that. Because know one of the biggest signs you do something for others? I'm going to give you a sign of riyaa. You only do it when they're present. That's riyaa. That's one of the biggest signs for you. You only do that deed when that person or people are present. But when they're not present, you don't do it. Now that's different when you're in the company of people and they encourage you to do more. So you're not doing it for them. They encourage you. They inspire you. When you're around them, you may not pray your sunnahs at home, for instance. But when you're around a pious person, you may make all of your sunnahs because they inspire you. Now you distinguish, are they inspiring you or are you showing off for them? You can distinguish that. But sometimes that happens. That's why you should be in the company of pious people. So that's the way, among the ways you weigh that. What do I do when I'm not around these people, right? What is my state when I'm not around them? They're nowhere around. Do I do these things? Yes, then I'm not showing off for them. If I don't, and I only do it when I'm around them, this is a sign that I'm showing off, and I need to fix that. So how do you fix it? Don't stop. Do it when you're not around them. Don't stop the deed. Do it. Correct your intention. Do the deed. And when you're not around them, increase the deed. Do you follow my point? So if I'm only praying when I go to the Masjid because I'm around the Imam or some people, Okay, I'm not going to stop. When I go home, I'm going to make extra sunnahs. And I'm going to get in the habit of doing it, even if I do it one time. But I'm not going to stop praying in the masjid because of people. I'm going to what? Outside of their presence, I'm going to do that deed. And I'm going to hopefully do more outside of their presence than I do in their presence. Even if the initial start was that I was doing it in their presence. But I correct my intention, I don't stop, and I increase when they are not aware, when they are not around. This is a way to battle those whispers from the devil. Imam, we should not read into Facebook posts, but shouldn't people work on securing their relationship with transparency and honesty? To not be so vulnerable to posts, that may very well be instigation. I'll tell you what, right? There is a such thing as inbox. Is that what it's called? Inbox. Private message. So if you thought someone was insulting you, kindly think good of them and reached out to them personally and say, listen, I saw something and I don't want shaitan to overcome me. I don't want my nafs to overcome me. Could you clarify to me what you were talking about? I may have misunderstood. Take that approach. Don't accuse them, because if you accuse them, already it's going to come out wrong. You meant this. La ilaha illallah. I didn't mean that. You misunderstood. Why don't you have a good opinion? So say, I may have misunderstood. And shaitan may be whispering to me, and my nafs may be talking to me. So help me clarify it so I can save myself from misunderstanding. Try to find, I'm just giving by way of example, try to find the best words to clarify that issue. Don't do it in public, which we fail sometimes. Shaitan get us all, right? And I struggle with myself. Trust me, I got people who fire arrows at me all day long. I feel that's what they're doing. I may be totally wrong, but it's quite a coincidence that I do this and 2 minutes later you do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but if it's that, I just ignore it. That's what I try to do. I try to ignore it, and I don't even try my best not to let it stay in my heart, right? And I don't block them because I want to work on my own heart. Blocking is an easy way to avoid the situation, right? But if I can train myself to see it and it still doesn't change my heart, that's better, right? So the Prophet ﷺ gave us that. You can always get away from people, most of the time, especially when you're a free person, right? And get away from their evil. But the better believer, the stronger believer, is the one who mixes with people and endures their harm. That's the better believer. It's permissible to get away from people that harm you and do evil. But the stronger believer and the one who gets greater reward is the one who mixes and endures their harm while trying to benefit them. So I work on that. And I would suggest you do the same. You're going to block everybody because they may benefit you. They might not benefit from that thing, but they may benefit from something else, right? So leave the door open for benefit and ignore them. Oh, that's it. That saying was, part of knowledge is knowing what to ignore. A part of knowledge is knowing what to ignore. Practice it, right? Here he come. Ash'ari stuff. Didn't you have enough? Ain't they beating you up enough with the Ash'ari thing? Nah, I'm messing with you. How can someone be Ash'ari and have a disagreement concerning the 13 attributes being basic and obligatory on every responsible person? Let me explain to you something, Isa. Seriously, and everyone listen to this. All right, this is an important. Thank you, Isa. You gave me a reason to talk for another hour. Barakallahu bikum. May Allah reward you. Listen, we as a people have not really studied the deen in an organized, structured manner. We've been hit and miss, most of us, right? And even the ones of us who have studied, our studies are very limited, right? Limited knowledge, resources, very limited. Our actual study is limited, right? Those people who say those things, the very books they study speak against what they're talking about. But they didn't realize it. Seriously. All of us who studied Aqidah know, everyone who studied Aqidah, I'm talking about with teachers and real things, you learn that this knowledge is far'ain ala kulli mukallaf, right? Everyone knows this. Everyone who studied Aqidah knows that knowing these attributes is far'ain ala kulli mukallaf. I'm going to ask all of you, what does far'ain ala kulli mukallaf, a personal responsibility on a personal obligation on every accountable person, what does that mean? Answer me, please. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm asking, that's a question. When someone says this is a personal obligation on every accountable, morally responsible individual, what does that mean? Just answer the question. We'll take the next question. Answer the question. Abu Muhammad ibn Hisham, I'm going to answer you, but just answer the first question first. I see your question. I'm not going to ignore it. Let's just get the first thing. Something is far'ain ala kulli mukallaf. What does that mean? What do we understand from that? It's a personal obligation on every morally responsible individual. Come on, we got a lot of people in here, right? We should have a lot of answers. Just one question, that's simple. What does that mean to you? Okay. So everyone got it. You must know, you are responsible, you must learn that, right? So every book of Aqidah will tell you Ahl Sunnah. I'm not talking about the others. We're talking about Ahl Sunnah, the books of the Ash'ariyah and Maturidiyah. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the others. We're talking about Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And even if you want to add, for my Hanabila brothers, even if you want to add the Hanbalis, they all say that these attributes are far'ain ala kulli mukallaf. If you need me to show you, I'll bring out plenty of books to show you that all of those scholars said the same thing about these attributes. No one argues about that. That's not an argument, right? Everyone says that. So with that said, they're not talking about the words. You must know the word al-wujud. You must know the word al-qidam or al-baqa or mukhalafatu lil hawadith. You need to understand that these attributes must be attributable to Allah. You cannot deny them. That's what's meant, right? So even if the person doesn't know the word, but he does not negate that Allah knows, that Allah is without a beginning, that Allah has no end, that Allah is not like his creation, that Allah exists, that Allah is not in need of anything, that Allah has the attribute of speech, hearing, sight, etc. Do you understand that? Is that clear for everyone? That is basic Aqidah. Whoever does not do that is a major sinner. And whoever denies any of those attributes and they are not a new Muslim who needs to be taught, and that's initially, I mean, they never heard of Islam and no one never taught them, they don't know what it is, right? Then that person who's like that needs to be taught, right? But the one who denies any of that is a kafir, is not a Muslim. That's by consensus. That's no disagreement. If someone says, for instance, that Allah is like his creation, kafara, that person is a disbeliever. By complete agreement, no one disagrees with that. If someone says Allah doesn't know everything, I deny that. That person is not a Muslim. If someone says Allah has a beginning, that person is not a Muslim. If someone says Allah will come to an end, that person is not a Muslim. If someone says that Allah is in need of his creation, that person is not a Muslim. If a person says Allah doesn't have the attribute of speech, that person is not a Muslim. If Allah says Allah does not have that Allah does not attribute with power, that person is not a Muslim. Is this clear? Is this clear? If it's not, just this. Don't go on your tangent or whatever else you're talking about. We can deal with that later. I want this point only. Is this clear? And please, I told y'all a million times, I'm very passionate about this issue because there is a lot of deviance in belief, in Aqidah. And a lot of people commit kufr and teach people kufr while they act like they got knowledge because they're too arrogant to say, I don't know. It's serious. It's serious. It's not a joke. It's not something to take light. Some of these things are by consensus of all Islamic scholars. And if you're all loose and all over the place, we fear from you a bad ending. That's why we're so serious about it. So you got people committing blasphemy. And then people say, I like him. That's kufr. Correct him if you love him. That's wrong. That's not permissible to believe. It's not light. It's not a joke. If you love him, correct him. If you love her, correct her. You really love her? Don't let him say that blasphemous statement. And do your best to explain to them, to show them that that's blasphemous. Let me explain to you. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm serious. This is not a joke. I know we like entertainment and I know we like, love and hip hop type activity between people. This ain't a joke. There is such thing as al-iman and kufr. It's real. There is real belief and there is real kufr, disbelief. Not anything you do and you still say you're Muslim. Every school of thought, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, the major schools of Ahl Sunnah, in every one of those schools, in the major books of Islamic law, al-fiqh, they have a section called ridda, apostasy. There it exists in every single major book of al-fiqh. There is a section in those books called apostasy. What is apostasy? It is one who was a Muslim, they believed something, they said something, they did something that takes them out of Islam. Is this clear? Is this clear? Is this clear? I'm serious. If you need me to show you, tomorrow I'll bring you a major book from every school of thought and show you. Seriously, it's not a joke. Seriously, it's not a joke. It's not funny. We laugh. Don't laugh at someone who's committing blasphemy. It's not funny. He's going to go to hell if he dies in that state, or she will end in hell. That's not funny. And I'm serious. So if my passion offends you, be offended. I'm serious. This is not a joke. We don't want no one, though we know some people are going to go to hell. We understand that by the religious rules. But from our side, we're going to do everything in our power to protect ourselves and others from the hellfire. But masha Allah can, wa ma lam yasha lam yakun. Whatever Allah will to be shall be, and whatever Allah didn't will to be shall not be. But we're not going to stand by and watch someone commit kufr and be quiet. We don't got to argue. We don't got to cuss. I love you. That's why I'm telling you that is blasphemous. And if you don't trust me, fine. I'm going to show you by someone you may trust so you can change. Do you understand the point? That's why I said, if you don't believe me, I'll bring all the books from every school to show you what I'm talking about. Not because it's about Imam Amin. Imam Amin is nobody. He's not significant at all. He's a narrator. That's it. Like everyone else. But I know our egos like to make us somebody. No, you narrate from the previous scholars who came before you. That's our religion. Not you make it up as you go along. If you're mistaken, you're mistaken. You're a human being. You make mistakes. That's not problematic. What is problematic? You're mistaken and you stay mistaken. You remain like that. That's a problem. Seriously, it's not, it's so, you know why? And I'm going to be honest. And I hate mentioning names. I don't like it. But sometimes when someone is deceiving people and misguiding people, you got to mention their name. That's the difference. When someone is deceiving someone and leading someone to kufr or to ma'asi, you got to mention them. And preferably you tell them so they stop. But if they don't stop, then you have to warn against them. No, this is how it works. This is the religious rule. So, I'm giving you an example. So for all of us, this game that's being played by the anthropomorphists of our time, the anthropomorphists, those who liken Allah to his creation in meaning and give him attributes of body in meaning. No one who claims to be Muslim in our time normally, I'm not saying no one that's absolute, I don't know everybody, but most common sense Muslims, or ones who believe they're Muslim, even if that's not the reality, because I know we got these people, and I'm aware of you, and I appreciate you, that watch every single word I utter. And let me have one slip of the tongue, you're going to hit me. And I appreciate it, because I don't want to make mistakes. And I'm human, I'm going to make some. I may speak wrong, I may use the word wrong expression. And I welcome you to correct me, because I don't want to go to hell, and I don't want you to go to hell. So don't think that bothers me, right? It doesn't. Because if you love me, you're not going to let me make mistakes. And if I make mistakes, you're going to correct me. And you're going to help me get through that mistake because you love me. I'm not going to take that personal, right? Even if it hurts. So what? I want to do the right thing. That's it. And all of us should feel that. So here's my point. Any problem we got can be solved by going to the previous generations of scholars, examining what they said, listening to it, and then taking the right approach from that, right? That's easy. It's an easy thing. It's not hard. Maybe some of us don't have access, and that's why we fall into the mistakes. But I know certain there are some people who have the books of the scholars in their possession and still contradict them and say things that are kufr, not because it's not available, because they're arrogant. The truth is right in your house, in the books. All you got to do is open, and you refuse to do it. That's shaitanic. It's right in your house. The books are there. The words of the scholars are there. You have them. Why are you making these mistakes? Really, I mean, answer that question. You have the solution to your problem right in your library. Why you don't fix it? Tell me. I can see, I can understand if you don't have access. It's right in front of you. Here, open that book on your shelf. Here's the page. Here's the thing. Why do you keep falling into those mistakes? Tell me. Besides, you yourself have a disease that you need to fix in your heart. You're not like Imam al-Nawawi. You're not like Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. You're not like Fakhrud al-Razi. You're not like Imam al-Ash'ari. You're not like Imam al-Maturidi. You're not like the scholars of the Salaf. You're not like the Sahaba. Humble yourself. That's not your state. There's a lot of arrogance. You hear people talk about we're scholars. You're not a scholar. You're not even an ignorant layman. That's real. You're not even an ignorant layman. Less than that. Humble yourself. You got some benefit you want to spread, spread it. Stop making claims for yourself. You ain't no scholar. Knock it off. And the only reason you think you're a scholar, because you haven't been around scholars. Knock it off. Seriously. And it's a lot of claims. And I saw what a lot of happened. A lot of guys, they went overseas with the intention to come back to be the man. There's a lot of that going on. I've been around a long time. And they were overseas and they missed it. They missed it. And that's why they come back confused. Because you went off in the beginning confused. And you took your confusion with you. And even in the face of scholars, you still remain confused. When it's right in front of you. Right in front of you. I studied overseas. I know the books of scholars. You can't tell me that. I know better. And when I say that, that's not praising myself. It's just true. And I will help you. I'll show you. I'll give you the books. I'll point the pages to you. I'll do it because I don't want to see you in that state. You know what the whole Wahhabi movement leads to? I want to tell you something. I'll summarize it to you very brief. It is challenging the previous generation of Muslims. That's it. If you want to summarize that Wahhabi, Salafi ideology and those who sympathize with it and follow it, even though they claim to be Sunni, it is challenging our previous scholars. That's it. Imam al-Nawawi was ignorant. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani was ignorant. All of Qurtubi was ignorant. At-Tabari was ignorant. Al-Bukhari was ignorant. They just don't say it to you. But what they're saying is that exact thing. All you got to do is study. And believe me, when I talk about it, I had a talk with my sheikh yesterday, one of my teachers. La ilaha illallah. It hurts because I'm a black guy. I'm a black man, obviously, right? You can see that. And this game been played on us for generations. I took my Shahada when I was 10 years old. I'm 50 now, right? I'm 50. 40 years of watching destruction and learning in the black community. 40 years. And I was a diligent young kid. Ask anybody from my city, even the elders. I was a little kid among the elders. I watched. I seen a lot. I seen all these movements. I seen all that stuff, right? And I had the opportunity to travel around the world to all of the major centers of Islamic learning. I've been there, and I've seen, and I've watched. So I kind of got an idea of what's going on here. I don't know everything, but I got a pretty good picture. And I've watched. And listen to this. I'm going to show you an example. Y'all got me started, so I'm going in, as we say in our community. I'm going in. Because these guys run from these conversations. They on the internet, blah, 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 blah. But they never want to sit and deal with the issue. They're always talking about something else. Always moving somewhere else. Stop. Let's talk about this issue only. Let's not go nowhere else. Let's finish this issue. It is said among those who make these claims, and as a person, I love them, and I tell them to their face. So don't think, and I'm not saying this out of arrogance, because that's what people take. Oh, he's arrogant. He's haughty. He's because he can speak loud, and man, as they say in art, miss me with all that nonsense. Stop running away from the point. I'm just not a coward, and I'm not intimidated by your false doctrine. I'm not. I'm not one of those who you're going to impress me with your Arabic. You're going to impress me with where you studied, and you're speaking something that I know by consensus is blasphemous. That ain't me. I learned enough not to be afraid to defend my religion. I'm not. I learned enough that. I might not learn a lot, but I did learn that. I know how to defend my religion. I'm firm in Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. No shaky stuff. And those who know me, seen me in much worse conditions than this, and stand up for Ahl Sunnah with my life on the line. They've seen it. So that ain't me. So you can't impress me with that stuff. Not at all. Not a little bit. So I'm going to challenge you, not to make you look bad, because we could have that conversation privately, and I'll show you. And I've had that conversation privately with all of them. All of those guys you see majorly talking all that nonsense, I've personally talked to them, and they avoid the conversation. Personally. But they're going back and forth on the internet and shooting shots. Come on, knock it off. Here's my point. I'm just being honest with you. We can't afford these games no more. We got children. Our children are being lost because we don't got Islam right. So we losing them. We all over the place. And it's not that we have to be all over the place. We can actually learn. Go look. I've traveled the world. People are producing scholars, learned people, generation after generation. We can do the same thing. We got to get it right, though. We got to get it right. Societies are being built. Muslims are doing stuff. We got to get it right. And the first thing is we got to stop this do-it-yourself Islam. Do-it-yourself Islam. That's what it is. We follow Quran and Sunnah. Habibi, my brother, we're going to follow Quran and Sunnah. Stop fooling people. You're not qualified to deduce anything from Quran and Sunnah. Stop playing games. We're not qualified to deduce anything from Quran and Sunnah. None of us. And any of us who would be honest, we know that. And if you think you are, I'm willing to give you a test. If you think that you're qualified to deduce legal rulings from the Quran and Sunnah without referring to previous scholarship, I'm willing to test you. That's an open challenge. And I guarantee you, you won't last 10 minutes. That's a fallacy. We're not there. Stop. Stop fooling each other. We're not there. Let us get there one day. But we're not going to get there pretending. All this shadow boxing in the gym, and when it's time to get in the ring, you get knocked out in 1 minute. Don't do that. Train properly. Train properly. And then one day when you get in there, maybe you become the champion. But all this false claims and stuff, knock it off. Knock it off. Because what you're doing is tricking the people. You got some of us that actually think Imam so-and-so is equal to those great scholars like An-Nawawi, like Ibn Hajar Asqalani, and so many thousands. As-Subki, all Ghazali. You're debating with these giants. Come on, man. Knock it off. Stop. Really, stop. You know better. I studied over here. You ain't studied nothing. You know that. That's all. You studied enough to start reading the books of the scholars. Stop playing games. Stop lying to people. Because you're only hurting them. You're not helping them. Acting like you somebody you're not helping nobody doing that. You're not. You're hurting them because you're dropping the bar. And we need to rise to the bar, not drop it. Seriously. They'll have it to a point they're going to rewrite the religion. With no chain of narration, with no nothing, just a whole new deen. La ilaha illallah. Come on, humble ourselves. Seriously. And I'm telling you, right now, I know many people who studied overseas. Too many. Countless. I know them. I know them personally. And they're not scholars. They got graduate. They did this. And all you got to do is read the books of the scholars and you see this person ain't a scholar. They don't even know the basic stuff of the deen like that. They didn't even master the basics. But because the internet, we can go all over the place and, we talk about this. It's entertaining. But knowledge, real knowledge, we got a long way to go, all of us. And I'm the first to say that's not my rank. Yours, I'm not a mufti. I'm not a scholar. I'm your brother in Islam. I have some experiences I can share with you. I'm not going to make no claims. That's not going to happen. I may be mistaken, but I'm going to show you this is where I got my mistake from. I really sat with teachers. They told me this. This is what we relate from their chains of narration. It's not me. It's not me. And everyone else knows it's not you either. It's not you either. Humble yourself. Because we're losing this battle. We're losing it within. How the heck are we going to fight the enemies outside of Islam? In Islam, we're losing the battle. How are we going to fight outside? And we're losing because we're not being real with each other. Everybody's fronting. And where I come from, we don't like people fronting. We don't. We have no respect for someone who's fronting. We don't do it. Absolutely not. For those who don't know what fronting means, pretending to be someone you're not. Nah, we don't do that. No. Be who you are. It's fine. It works. Be who you are. Be real. Be sincere. And may Allah raise you up to that great scholar you might want to be. But right now, you're not him. So follow him. So learn from him. So read from him. And then, inshallah, we'll get better. So that long-winded answer to your question, Brother Isa, that was long-winded, I know. But I know better. And because of, I understand our sensitivities. Because if it wasn't we were so sensitive, I would tell you who I'm talking about. I would name them. But if you got the point, there's no need to name them. Do you got the point? I'm asking, that's a question to all of us. Do you got the point? Without naming, do you got the point? I'll give you one example. There is one individual, and I'm controlling my nafs, seriously. I want to rip him to shreds, but I won't. And if you see me do it, correct me. If you see me go in on some, is a particular person, he drives me crazy. Seriously. So if you hear me dig into someone, then stop me. Say, Imam, I mean, no, don't do that. There is one person, you know why? Because he claims to be Ahl Sunnah. He studied in the centers of the scholars of Ahl Sunnah. And sometimes I listen to him and watch him. I'm like, did you study in Mars or where you were supposed to study? I know you studied there because I know people that were there with you. What the heck are you talking about? And yesterday I saw him. You know what I wanted to say? I didn't see him. I mean, I saw his stuff. I wanted to tell him, stop spitting in the face of your teachers. That's what I wanted to tell him. Stop spitting in the face of your teachers who have an unbroken chain back to the Prophet. Stop spitting in their face with your La ilaha illallah. Seriously, it's bad. Learn your religion. Seriously. Learn your religion. Bad. It's very important. But you use that, I studied here, and do the stuff you do. And know very well the scholars of where you studied, the teachers, their books are explicit in opposing what you're talking about. Seriously, stop that stuff. Our religion is not broken. We have chains of narration, right? And it disturbs me, seriously, because I love Ahl Sunnah. I would imagine my teachers taught me, and then I go and I alter everything they taught me and speak in their names and speak in totally opposite of what they taught me. Imagine how treacherous that is. I know they taught me. I sat with them. And I go back home, I come back to America, and I start doing everything opposite of what they taught me in their name. How treacherous is that? And believe it or not, it's a lot of that going on. Especially in Aqidah. Especially in Aqidah. Because that's the nature of weak people. That's the nature of weak people. You're inferior to them, so you compromise your religious principles just to survive. You are a coward. And that's my honest feeling. You don't have to agree with me. That's my personal feeling. That if you get to the point where you altering the knowledge you receive with an unbroken chain of narration from the great scholars of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and you come back here and you get in front of some inferior innovations in knowledge and you compromise your principle, you are a coward. They don't even have 10% of what you have, and you compromising your principles. That's a coward. And the Prophet ﷺ used to seek refuge in Allah from being a coward. He used to make dua, "Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from cowardice, from being a coward." The Prophet ﷺ, everybody want to follow Sahih Hadith, I seek refuge from being a coward. That's not something nice. At least one could do is tell the truth. At least. At least. Just be honest. That's it. Even if you disagree, be honest. I'm not going to lie on the Wahhabis because I disagree with them. Never. If I say something they said, this is what they said. This is their books. This is what they said. I'm not going to lie on someone. I'm not going to fabricate. And I'm going to stop here. But this is how serious. Why? Because this lying and fabricating may lead someone to hell. May cause someone to fall into blasphemy. Because people lying and fabricating and trying clout chasing and all that nonsense. Speak the truth. Speak the truth. That's all we ask. Even if you disagree, be honest. Don't lie. Don't fabricate. Don't change the facts. Be honest. Be honest. That's all. That's it. There's nothing more than that. And I'm sorry, I didn't mention any names. So I try my best. But some people need to be warned against. Not everything is be silent. Some people need to be warned against because they're tricking people, right? But if you learn, then you don't got to worry about who it is. Learn the knowledge properly. Do your research. Study. Take your time. I'm going to help you. Others will help you. We're providing means, and others are providing means. Just learn properly. You learn, and then go. Someone says, "Oh, you saying Ash'ari Maturidi?" I didn't make that up. I didn't make Ash'ari Maturidi. I want to ask you a question. Some of you are studying overseas right now. Some of you right now listening are studying overseas. I need you to speak up right now. Some of you are studying overseas in different lands, in Egypt, in Yemen, in Sham, in Lebanon, in Turkey. Some of you are actually studying right now. I'm going to ask you a question. Those of you who are studying overseas, you're on the line. I need you to speak up for 1 minute. Stop hiding in the, what's that called? What is it called? What is it called? What is it called? What is it called? Stop hiding in the shadows. I need you for 1 minute just to come out of the shadows. To be honest. Am I the one who said Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah are the Ash'aris and the Maturidis? Am I the one who made that up? Answer me. Be honest, some of you are studying. I just want the ones who are studying overseas right now. Am I the one who made that up? Ahl Sunnah hum al-Ash'ira wal Maturidiyya. Am I the one who made that up? Question. Some of you are studying. I'm talking about the ones who are studying. Don't hide. Come out. Right? I didn't make it up. You studied. I know you're listening, so come out. Come out. You don't help by hiding. Come out. Come out. I know you're listening. I've seen many of you. I know that. Be honest. Help support the creed of Ahl Sunnah. Abu Muwadda, do me a favor. Stop letting people get off the subject, right? Do me a favor. Stop distracting the people from what we're actually talking about. I know you don't intend that, but it happens because they're going to engage what you're talking about and forget what the subject is. Let's keep them focused, right? Let's keep them focused. Barakallahu bikum. Let's keep them focused. That's all. Let's keep them focused, right? We already had that discussion. That's why I said keep it focused. I got all that. Forget the personal stuff. Let's stay focused, right? Let's stay focused. Forget all the personal stuff. I know it's hard. I know sometimes people burn us up. We all like that. Let's stay focused. I asked the question. Those who are studying overseas, one answered. Brother Shakil, who's studying overseas? Where's the others? Where are you at? I know you're there. But see, here's my point. If we just, as Sunni Muslims, just spoke what we speak, tell the truth, we could cut a lot of this stuff out. But because we remain silent, it spreads more. And we're going to be held responsible for that. Because knowledge, when you learn, it has a responsibility. You must convey it. And you can make all the excuses. Oh, we got to have good manners and blah, 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 blah. All of that to get around doing the job. All of that to make an excuse why you're compromising your religious principles. No, we don't accept. So, believe me, what pushes me to do what I'm doing is because there's not enough people doing it. That's what pushes me. I have my own community. I can just teach my own people, right? But when I look at the spreading of wrong ideas, especially among our community, I feel an obligation to speak up. I can give you an analogy. I'll give you, because we all understand this. We get tired of fighting. And that's why we stay in the same condition. And I understand getting tired. But there's this thing says, oh, we've been going like this for 30 years. It ain't changed, so we should just leave it alone. African Americans, black people, were in slavery for over 400 years. Should they have just left it alone and said we're going to be slaves forever? Even after slavery, we're still being brutalized, being marginalized, being underserved, being discriminated against, and we continue to fight. We don't stop. But there are some says, we didn't put you in slavery. We didn't do this to you. So why are you taking that on us? You're benefiting from it. You're benefiting from it. So you can help change it. You're still allowing it to happen. So you're just as guilty. And we must stand up and fight. And it don't got to be physical, though sometimes it leads to that. But we always got to speak out against it. It's wrong. It's injustice. So likewise, we're not going to stop because we're tired. No, we're going to keep dealing with it. We're going to keep dealing with the issue until we make a change. And I look at this every morning. I say we are making a change. There are people who wouldn't have the opportunity to even have the idea of these things if we was quiet. There's always going to be those who don't like it. They don't want to hear it. Okay. There were those who never wanted slavery to end either. But we didn't stop because they didn't want slavery. We kept struggling. We kept going until we reached this stage. And we still got more to go. And we're going to keep going. And the same we're doing with religious knowledge, even more, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep struggling till death comes. Period. Barakallahu bikum. May Allah reward you. Isa, I hope I answered your question. And hey, this is me. I'm going to do I'm going to do my part. I'm deficient. I may screw it up, but I'm going to keep trying to someone better and more stronger and more diligent, more knowledgeable, more pious, more adept is produced from us, and they're out front and they're on the front line regularly, and there's enough of them, I can sit my old tail down and drink my coffee and relax. But until that point, I got to do what I got to do. I got to stand up because there's not enough of us. There's not enough of us, especially from my background. There's not enough. From my people, there are not enough at all. There are not enough. We need more. We need hundreds for the job that we got to do, if not thousands. Let me give you I want to give you something, a rule in religious knowledge to show you how much we got to do. In al-fiqh, in the rules of fiqh, they say that if in every qasr distance, which is the distance you shorten the prayers, roughly around 50 miles, right? You need to have a teacher to educate the people. In every qasr distance, there needs to be a teacher to educate the people of that area, right? Listen to that. So we're talking roughly around 50 miles or so, right? Answer this question, all of you, from all over the world we are. Are there teachers in every 100 miles that teach this knowledge? So we're looking all over the country, all over the world. Are there teachers every 100 miles? Give me an answer. That's teaching this knowledge. Ash'ari, Maturidi, the four schools, at-tasawwuf, in that form, every 100 miles in your area. Are there teachers like that? That's a question. Are there that many teachers in your area? I don't care where you at. So that's no. Come on, I want to know. Abu Hush and Shadley's in Europe. So y'all did the work. SubhanAllah. MashaAllah. So that means we got work to do. If the answer is so many no's, that means we got work to do. So I'm not sufficient. And the few others that we got are not sufficient. It's not enough. And this is a fard kifaya. This is a communal obligation. Right? So we got work to do. So all of you need to learn and master the knowledge and do the job in your areas. Every one of you. And you got to be better, more prepared, more knowledgeable, more pious, better manners than this weak servant of Allah right here. You got to be better. And my hope is that I can inspire you to be 10 times better than me and do the job. That's what I want. And that's my objective, is to help you become way better than me and then have someone better in front of the people to teach the people, to help the people, and that's it. I'll be happy with that. All right, I've talked long enough. Assalamu alaikum ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. May Allah reward you all. Barakallahu bikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I end? Abu Muhammad, please, I don't want you to leave and thinking I ignored your question. I actually went off my mouth and forgot. Let me answer your question, just your question, quickly. Could you repost it if you did? I apologize. I honestly missed it. I did see it, but I got to talking, and I forgot your question. What was your question, Abu Muhammad? Go back to his question. Find his question. Because I didn't mean to ignore you. Please forgive me. If you can post it back, Abu Muhammad Ibn Hisham. If you can put that original question, whatever you're talking about. I did see it, but I was supposed to come back, and I forgot it. Could you put it back, please, so I can get off? If you can put it back, because I'm holding the people up. Please, Abu Muhammad Ibn Hisham. Are you still there? We lost your question. Could you put it back, please? Is he gone? Allah. It's gone. Okay, inshallah. We'll get it tomorrow. Let him know I forgot his question. Okay, let's wait a second, inshallah. Okay, go ahead. Don't make it lengthy. Do this favor, Muhammad. Put it in 2 parts, because I'm not going to see the whole question. Do no more than 4 or 5 lines, and then make the rest of it. Like post one, then post the other. If you make it too long, I'm not going to see the whole question. So take your time. And everyone else who's not interested in this question, you can log off. I just didn't want to ignore him, because that is a way, subhanallah. I'll wait. I'll be patient. But if you gotta go, may Allah reward you. I'm just going to answer that one question, and that's it. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Kareem. Hanging in there, black man. Allah. I'm just waiting for Abu Muhammad so I can answer his question. I thank you for your patience. Once upon a time, there was a brother named Isa who was always looking to stir the pot. So he put Ash'ari and Maturidi and then get people upset. And then go to try to pull Imam Amin into his stuff. I understand. I used to do the same thing. Trust me, I understand. Allah. Okay. I know men who have been Muslims all their life, and some even Imams. If they never ascribe to one of the 4 schools or claim the Ash'ari or Maturidi, are they outside of Ahl Sunnah and destined for Jahannam. I'm trying to understand. Okay, let's clarify that. Number one, you don't have to be Ash'ari or Maturidi by name to be considered a Muslim and to make it to paradise. So is that clear? The Ash'ari and Maturidi school, or one of the four schools, is to ensure that your acts of worship are performed in a valid manner, right? That's it. As for going to paradise and going to the hellfire, that is Allah's matter, not ours. We don't know what Allah is going to do with an individual because we can't read hearts. We judge what? By the outward dictates of the sacred law. That's it, right? So the sacred law says this, that's what we judge by. As for your reality, only Allah knows that. We're not judging you about your reality. We're judging you by the rules of the religion. And when I say judging, we're making our understanding of the state of you outwardly. I don't know your reality. Just like a person could be Ash'ari and a hypocrite. I don't know that. You don't know if I'm even Muslim. You only know what I say. And that's what you got to judge by. Not what's in my heart. Because you don't know what's in my heart. Right? So you can't say, Amin is for 100% sure he's a Muslim and he's really Ahl Sunnah. You only know what I say. And that's what you judge by. Right? And that's your responsibility. As for what's going on inside, you have no idea. It's not your realm. Do you follow? So that's one state. So if a person doesn't follow the four schools and is not Ash'ari and Maturidi, he's not Ahl Sunnah. But that doesn't mean he's going to hell. Because he may have the correct belief. His acts of worship may be in accordance to the proper way of Ahl Sunnah. He just don't call himself a Maliki or a Shafi or a Hanbali. Do you understand the difference? So don't mix the two up, right? No one's saying if you're not Ahl Sunnah, you're not a Muslim. That's no one is saying that. At least no one who understands is saying that. As for your heart, no one can judge that. We're just talking about the outward rules of the religion. That's it. That's all we can talk about. We can't talk about nothing else. I hope that's clear. Okay, I think is it. That's it. So you say blind following, they don't know the proofs of the school and that's true. That's most people are like that. Most people don't know the evidences in what they're following. And they're not expected to. That's for scholars, right? So is that clear, Abu Muhammad? Did I clarify what I'm saying or what is intended? Is it clear, Abu Muhammad? Are you clear on what we're saying? All right, Barakallahu bikum. And that's easy. We can clear it up. We don't have to confuse ourselves. We talk. We're brothers. And trust me, for all of you to know, I'm open. I'll talk to you about anything, even if you disagree. I'm not going to get angry. I mean, I may get a little excited and raise my voice, and we might have a little pow, pow, pow. But I'm not. I'm not like that. I'm not. I'm going to defend the position of Ahl Sunnah, but I ain't your enemy, right? You learning just like me. Of course. That's true, Muhammad. That ain't even a good opinion. That's reality. Most of the Ummah don't have those beliefs. That's true. That's the Prophet ﷺ said that. So that's not something, he didn't say Wahhabis. He said the most of the nation will never agree on misguidance. So that's true. That's a fact. All right, y'all gotta go. Hey, Joshua Perez, can you inbox me? I want to have a real talk with you, one-on-one. So inbox me your number, inshallah. Go directly to me. Inbox. I want to talk to you. I probably met you and just don't remember you, but I want to have a real talk with you. I want to have a real discussion. And if there was another guy there, I got to reach back out to him. I want to talk to y'all Hanbali brothers who always talk about the Hanabila and that. I want to talk to y'all, right? Privately, one-on-one. So hit me up. All right, assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry for killing y'all with my long, drawn-out discussions. May Allah reward you for your patience. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I love you all.